I think it's fair to say that Race Driver Grid transformed the racing game ecosystem with a career mode that involved you building your own team, buying your own cars, and even things such as the flashback feature. Sorry, Evolution GT. This was the first game that properly pioneered it. Some people will want to go back and keep playing it again and again and again, but given it was released in 2008, you might think it's a bit dated. That is where the GRID Xtra mod comes in. It brings in the content that wasn't originally in the career mode because of its inclusion as DLC. It also brings in cut content. It also adds a lot more custom drivers, revamps the economy and the AI model. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my experiences with GRID Xtra, my recommendations, and yeah, without further ado, let's get on with it. So firstly, as a baseline, before we get into talk about GRID Xtra, let's talk about Race Driver Grid. Race Driver Grid was the sequel to the TOCA Race Driver franchise, or the DTM Race Driver franchise if you were in Europe, that Codemasters released over the course of the early noughties. Race Driver Grid revamped the series. Whilst the original one was about a career mode with a story element to it, taking you through various different cars and classes around the world, what Race Driver Grid did was say, okay, you're going to start off driving for all of these different teams. Then you're going to build up your own team. You're going to race around North America, Europe, and Asia. Once you've built up enough reputation in those countries and you get into a World Series. It also introduced things like the Raven West team and some famous names and faces that you would see throughout the GRID franchise, because in addition to being transformative to the TOCA Race Driver or DTM Race Driver and various other monikers, it was also the start of something new. Something that we see still now with GRID 2, GRID Autosports, the GRID Rebooted 2019 and GRID Legends. The reason why people who play Race Driver Grid will use GRID Xtra is actually quite multifaceted. To start off with, there was cut content that didn't make it into the final release of the game or the DLC. So for example, one of the things they bring in is V8 Supercars content. And they also make sure that DLC content is included in the game. There was lots of great DLC for Race Driver Grid, and it added various different cars. Mazda Furai being one, I believe. There was at one point where it also added Bugatti Veyrons and McLaren F1s. So what it does is it means that you get to enjoy these cars in career mode, whilst previously the only way you enjoyed them was through online racing. In addition to all of that, it makes the game a bit longer. Whilst as a kid I probably played 30 or 40 seasons of Race Driver Grid's career mode, at some point it starts to get a bit repetitive. And when you get all the way to the end very quickly, you want to either start again or try something a bit different. So what this does is it makes the in-game economy slightly harder. It means that it takes a little bit longer for you to unlock everything, and it means you need to be slightly better at it to be able to keep yourself going. It's one of those things that adds an extra challenge that wasn't necessarily required back in 2008, but if you're enjoying this game in the 2020s, it's something that makes it a lot better. However, one of the most intense features of the rework, and it's something that boggles the mind of a sim racer, is the AI rework, because the AI is on rails. The AI is so competitive, and it means that if you are somebody who is a sim racer, you're going to get caught out quite a lot, very quickly, very early on. Because the best way to go fast is a lot of sideways entry. It is a lot of drifting. It is bug sliding like you'd see in Trackmania. So sometimes you might find, actually, I quite like having all of this intense AI. For instance, in drifting, which was notoriously one of the easier game modes for people like myself, it means that you actually do have rivals to deal with. However, when it comes to circuit racing, you see these cars being flung into corners that they shouldn't make in the real world of racing. But because of the physics and the handling model, the AI now knows, yep, if I just send it into a hairpin at 100 miles per hour, I'm going to make the apex. Now, the added issue on top of all of that means the AI is even more aggressive. And what that means is, I mean, in the original grid, you would often find that you were leaning on other cars or bashing into other cars, especially in the touring cars, to be able to get your way. You will find that they will just drive through you. The amount of times where I got TD'd when I was doing my career mode because the AI was just driving into me and just whacking me into walls. Yeah, it was quite intense. It was funny, and I was certainly enjoying myself, but I could imagine if somebody was taking this super duper seriously that it could be rage-inducing. But honestly, it's a lot of fun, and it adds a lot more to the Grid game. It adds a massive lease of life to it, and it is needed. I do love Race Driver Grid, but at the same time, I do understand that if somebody wanted to sit down and play Race Driver Grid today, they would have a much easier time than they might have had in 2008. And they might find some bits that were charming and enjoyable back then a bit more annoying now. And yeah, I had a lot of fun playing GRID Xtra because it meant that I was revisiting this familiar game but in a new light. And it was incredibly entertaining. I'm thinking of making a kind of meme video in a way of the career mode that I did because it was hilariously chaotic. Like, when I used to play this growing up, I was able to compete on the hardest difficulties for the win in most races. And now, even on the easier difficulty or the rebalanced AI, I'm finding it hard to meet my objectives. So thank you so much for watching and joining, folks. And if you did enjoy this video, do let me know in the comment section down below if you want to stick around for more things from the history of sim racing and modern sim racing as well. We've got a bunch of new releases coming up in the foreseeable future. Do just hit the subscribe button, and if you want to see this meme video that I'm thinking about, do let me know in the comments as well, because I am working on it, but I've also got 3 or 4 other ideas on the back burner right now. If you're interested in the real world of motorsport, you can check out my other channel linked in the description, where I talk about the real world of motorsport every single day. But until next time, it's a bye for now.